Keen there on XFM, I'm now joined. Sitting with me in the studio, unbelievably, is the star of extras, it's Stephen Merchant. Hello there.
All right there.
Now, I said star. I put it out there.
No, you're absolutely right.
I think so.
I've stolen all the scenes that I've been in. No one's arguing about that level of performance.
Do you think people are starting to realise you're the talent?
I think they are. Absolutely right. And, I'd be very disappointed if I didn't win a myriad of awards.
Yeah, but you know what? They'll be for supporting actor. They won't be for...
That's fine.
Is that alright?
A slow start, and then I'll work up to, lead roles later.
Okay. I could have had Gervais in.
Sure.
I said, screw him. I want Merchant.
Yeah. No, well, thank you very much for, and thank you for, for filling my slot.
No, that's alright. It's quite weird actually having you as a guest. Because, this is sort of your slot, and Adam and Joe's as well. Am I doing alright? How do you, I'm just...
I think, yeah, good. I mean, I've listened to a few of the shows, and you seem to be, largely talking rubbish.
Right,
which is very much what the audience for this slot is looking for.
I did listen to your show on the internet before I joined, and it's generally you come in. I feel I've made more of an effort with this show.
Well, you've actually got things written down.
I've got notes. It's a chat show.
Yeah.
But you sort of come in, I imagine you just stroll in, and Carl gives you 2 hours of comedy gold, and then you go home.
This is the thing, when you've got someone like Carl, you don't need scripts. I mean, I was actually, weirdly, Carl is here in the building, he was just doing some work.
Yeah, everyone's here apart from Ricky.
Yeah, if I give him a call, you may as well shoot off, because we're ready to go. But I was just talking to him, and he actually told me some monkey news, which amused me, literally as I was walking up the corridor.
Shall we hear
we were talking about
that,
that monkey they sent into space years ago, before they started sending astronauts, they sent a monkey. And he was telling me about how, when it came back to Earth, they had to put it down because it just was constantly trying to relive the highs that it had. It had such a great time in space, floating around, as many bananas as it wanted, that when it came back, it just couldn't. It probably had a couple of sort of model girlfriends and stuff, but basically it turned to booze, and they had to put it down. So there you are, and that's monkey news, and the man's not even present.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
And now people aren't missing out.
No, exactly.
They're just getting more. Have you thought about going solo, Stephen?
What, radio-wise?
No, in terms of your sitcom writing now, because I think people have realised that you can go it alone. You can act, you can write, you can direct.
Sure.
There's no need for that fella.
Not really, no. No, it's not occurred to me. It's too much fun working with, with RG.
Okay. I think you should certainly do more of this, appearing on chat shows as you.
Yeah.
Because, normally that Ricky Gervais fella, well, he's on Jonathan Ross every freaking week on Radio 2.
Sure.
Why aren't you there doing more of that?
Well, maybe I could become a regular on this.
Yes, we can have like a regular sort of
we'll
banter.
become kind of showbiz pals like Ross and Gervais.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
We'll have to hone the banter. Or do we have to sort of slag each other off in a jovial way?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You maybe give me a cat as a gift.
Okay, there we go.
Because I've always actually I was saying to Gervais that watching him now on Jonathan Ross, it's a bit like when Jethro used to turn up on Des O'Connor. It's got that same vibe, it's got that same feeling. They're very much the modern equivalents, in my opinion.
Okay. I've got questions and things.
Okay.
This is, of course, the radio station, XFM, that brought you two together.
This is
Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. Now, have you thanked whoever was in charge who hired you both? Have you?
No, I think I think he's not involved anymore. The guy that actually gave us our big break.
Okay.
But I seem to remember that we were threatened with being fired almost instantly. So I don't know if there's anyone to thank really.
You don't.
Maybe they should be thanking us, Simon.
Yes.
I don't know what I mean by that, but the joy we've brought between 1 and 3 for so many people.
Yeah, but
almost double figures.
Although it probably wasn't their intention for you to go off and create a hit sitcom together. Sure. They did bring you together. It might be nice to send them a letter, give them a percentage of DVD sales.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, well, now you're making me feel guilty. I should organise some kind of bouquet.
So Ricky was head of speech, that was the deal, and then you came in for an interview.
Well, yes, he got this gig, I don't know entirely how, when XFM was first trying to get launched, and he was given the job title Head of Speech. He'd had no radio experience whatsoever, and they hired him on the strength of, his vivacious, gregarious personality, and he immediately told them he needed an assistant, and my demo tape, because I'd done some radio in Bristol, it sort of happened to be on his desk. And he called me up for a meeting, and I swear to God, he honestly said to me, he took me to the pub in Goodge Street and said, if you do all the work for me, because I don't know what I'm doing, I'll make sure you have a fun gig. And I moved up to London, lock, stock and barrel, and realised the man was an idiot and was going to get us fired.
Right.
And immediately left to join the BBC.
And I imagine what he said to you there is quite similar to the writing process now when you're doing the sitcoms.
Not at all, no. You see, this is the weird thing, is that at the time he was a really lazy, work-shy man.
And now he's...
And now the roles have reversed.
Really?
They really have, and I can't wait to kind of leave him behind and get home and put the telly on. And he's always on the phone, look, let's do XFM, let's do this. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
He's actually now a workaholic. He's a workaholic.
I thought he'd just sort of turn up and say, okay, look, we'll put some racism in. Can you do something with that? Do something with the disabled, a couple of gays. Can you deal with that? And then you structure it.
That's it. You're a fly on the wall, aren't you, at our writing process.
We're going to play music and then we're going to talk more. That is the way it works
I'm
on
looking
this,
forward to it.
you know, brilliant chat show that I've created here. Okay, it's the Super Furry Animals, is it? It's the Super Furry Animals.
Great.
Yes. Laser beam, super furry animals. I think I said Fury before, Stephen.
Don't worry about it, mate. It's early doors. You've only just started on this radio lark.
I feel like
there's plenty of time.
People are listening to you now thinking, God, it's almost like the old days.
Yeah.
But not quite.
Sure.
The big question that I have to ask, by the way, I'm here with Stephen Merchant, the star of the Extras. Extras.
Yeah.
There's no
Don't
D.
worry, come on, just relax. It's fine.
Has it been as good as The Office is what people are asking?
Right.
Is that a frustrating question, a fair question? What do you think?
I think it's an inevitable question. I think is it as good as you're saying, or is it? Yeah. I think
Is it as good, better, or worse? Or much, much worse? Or much better?
I think it's
utterly equal.
Well, it's not something. It doesn't seem like a very fair question.
No,
really.
that was my question actually. Was it a fair question?
Well, because then you're just competing with something you've already done. So it's like, well, it doesn't have David Brent. It doesn't have a funny dance. It hasn't got a love story.
Why couldn't you do a funny dance for this one?
I know.
Just a different dance.
We just felt we'd covered the funny dances.
About a hand jive of some kind.
A what?
A hand jive.
Yeah, no, sure. Well, no, I mean, there's not a great deal of physicality from me because I'm so tall, I can't actually stand up in scenes. Really, with Ricky for any length of time because we can't get us both in the frame.
There was on the Thursdays one. You did seem to be quite far behind him.
Yes, I have to tend to stand in resistance. Yeah, or we'll immediately find a reason for us to both be sat down in the scene.
So you're saying it's not quite as good? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a disappointing follow-up.
It's very tricky, I imagine. Whatever you did in those first few episodes, people are going to be looking at Ricky's character thinking, oh, it's like David Brent, but like sort of a bit nicer. And who are those people around him?
Yes.
Was that something you were very aware of, and what could you do about it?
Well, I think if this was America and you have 22 episodes, then people forget that question quite quickly. I'm sure when people sat down to watch Friends in the early days, they thought, oh, what's this? Bunch of trendy, good-looking people. But, 6 episodes later, they were laughing. But, of course, 6 episodes later in this country, and it's all over. So, the hope is that people they'll warm to it over the course of the 6 episodes, and then maybe go back and watch it and reassess those episodes that they didn't like.
What would have been a solution is if you played the lead.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm very much liking you bigging me up.
Now, why couldn't that happen?
Well, I'm not very experienced performer, and
holding you back, Stephen.
But my confidence is growing. So who knows? If we do a second series, maybe I'll step to the front.
I think so.
Yeah. Is that what people are crying out for? I mean, you're very much down with the kids, I know.
I'm down with the kids. The youth are saying you're not in it enough.
Sure.
Maybe you get one scene.
Yeah.
And maybe nothing in an episode.
Sure.
Where is he? They're crying.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think you should at least be in every episode.
Sure.
And more.
Do you text using the abbreviations?
No.
The U's and the smiley faces and stuff like that?
I like a full word.
Is it? Yeah, right. So that must alienate you from a lot of your demographic.
But screw them.
No, sure. Absolutely.
Now, before you decide on Extras as the next project, I imagine there were other options. Talk me through some of the rejected sitcom ideas.
Right, okay. Well, there was one called The Warehouse.
Right.
Where Ricky plays David Brandt, a warehouse foreman. And, we were toying with a couple of different ideas, one of which was sort of set in the world of community service and probation, where you get quite an interesting, disparate group of people brought together, white-collar criminals as well as the blue-collar criminals, an interesting mix. But we thought, while we still had a bit of cachet, particularly in Hollywood, why not exploit that and try and rope in some Hollywood A-listers, which is what we did.
And of course, Ross Kemp.
And indeed Ross Kemp.
Who I hear you had a nightmare with.
No, not at all. No.
Come on.
No, he was very.
Come on, you can
very,
tell me
very
anything.
winning.
No, I was listening.
All of them threw themselves into it. 110%.
You didn't feel he overreacted a bit?
Not at all. I thought he gave. You weren't exactly the performance we were expecting.
You weren't saying, "Come on, try naturalism, please."
We were saying, Ross, thank you very much indeed for turning up.
Okay.